Oliver,
How are you?
not so bad, thanks. How are you, mate?
Very good. Are you in Switzerland?
No, I'm actually in Auckland. The backdrop's Queenstown.
Oh, that's Queenstown. Oh, God, it looks like Lucerne in Switzerland or something.
Oh no, if only. No, no, you just don't want to see my messy home office right now. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Where are you?
Just in Sydney at our house. This is sort of our studio, which is a kind of an old. It's actually an old helicopter hangar.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, which is interesting.
How are the
I think
acoustics?
it was um, not fantastic, but it's sort of a home studio demoing. We don't tend to do all of our recording in here, so
Ah,
yeah,
fair enough.
it's good
Right.
enough.
So, am I just speaking to you today, or will Louis be joining us?
Um, would you? Louis, he's painting at the moment. Do you want me to go and grab
Oh
him,
no,
or
it's entirely up to you guys. If it suits, then that's fair enough.
yeah, I'll keep him. I'll keep him doing what he's doing because he's on a bit of a roll.
Oh, we shan't disturb him then.
Awesome.
Right. Well, okay. So let's get started. So Oliver Leimbach from Lime Cordiale. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. And we're here to talk about your new album that's due out in about a week from now, I understand.
Yeah, yeah,
14 Steps to a Better You. What a fantastic title for an album.
yeah. I think everyone needs to be taking it as literally as possible, and yeah, going with all these steps because it'll make you a better you.
So I'm noticing that you got song titles including robbery and inappropriate behavior. So are these included in the 14 steps?
Yeah, yeah. Those songs already released. There's quite a few songs that are already released.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they all sort of. We just realized that halfway through writing the album or recording the album anyway that it's quite an opinionated album.
Yeah.
It's quite contradictory in a lot of ways as well, just like any good self-help tape should be.
Fair enough.
And I think, yeah, a lot of the creators of self-help tapes are doing it for themselves as much as they're doing it to help you. So I guess we're guilty of this as a band, and yeah, it's full of contradictions. Our album, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's some fun music on it. It's your first album since 2017, right? Since Permanent Vacation.
Yeah,
But it's still definitely the same band. I mean, you can listen into it and tell this is a Lime Cordiale record we're listening to.
well, that's good. Yeah.
How would you describe the sound? What am I hearing that's different from the last album?
I think you are hearing something that's sort of more out of our imagination, out of our brains a little bit.
Okay.
I guess with anyone's first albums, there's some nerves involved, and it's about creating a sound to fit the songs that you've written. Would be pulling up references here and there to go, oh, we like the drum sound in this song, or we like the synth sounds in this, and sort of from those flavors that we pick out, we tend to create the Lime Cordiale sound. But with this next one, it was a lot more about just pulling things up and not pulling references to go by. We wanted to sort of hear something in our heads and then try and get that and record that and capture it. So I like to think that it's got a lot more of that. And I think from not pulling up references, we were able to push the boundaries a little bit and get weirder and wackier. So yeah, I'd like to think that a lot of our own personality is in this album.
Fair enough. The production sounds a lot sort of, I'm trying to think what the right word is. Tighter. Your first album, to my ears, sounded very lush, very, very comfortable. Whereas on 14 Steps, I'm
Okay.
hearing much, much sharper edges to the sound.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably pushing boundaries as well as us sort of, I guess, evolving and getting better at what we do, hopefully, fingers crossed. But that's, yeah, I mean, I think before when we're even just getting up a guitar sound, for example, you might want to get this warm, slightly overdriven guitar part
Yeah.
throughout a song. But then with this second one, it's like, let's just completely destroy this sound, or let's just push it this way or that way. And if we are doing a nice, beautiful guitar sound, then how can we contrast it elsewhere? So yeah,
Right.
I think that's probably what happened with the production as well.
Now, fair enough. So I was listening to songs like Inappropriate Behavior. It's a really nice, crisp, clear, clean guitar line at the beginning of that. So it contrasts nicely with, say, Screw Loose, which is definitely got a bit of a reggae kind of lope to it, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely very New Zealand inspired, that's for sure.
It's glad to see we're having our influence over there. So yeah, so this is the first album since 2017. Obviously, you've been drip feeding as singles. What else have you guys been up to in the last couple of years?
We've been touring a lot. So in 2019, we played 103 shows.
Wow.
So it was jam packed with live music. So it feels pretty strange now being settled in at home and a lot more domestic.
Right.
Definitely haven't spent this much time at home in, I don't know, 6 years or something like that.
Well, when were you last on stage?
We were, when was it? Yeah, I can't even remember. We've been sort of doing a lot of live streaming things and things like that. But our
Right.
next one's a next week, just playing to 80 people at a time. We're going to do 2 shows a night, and so I think we're doing 14 shows all up. So we I guess we're a little bit addicted to playing live shows. So
Right.
even if we have to play to 80 people, then we'll still do it.
So these shows at the Oxford Arts Factory in Darlinghurst, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering why there's quite so many dates back to back, but that suddenly makes an awful lot more sense.
Yeah, they're small. It's a New York vibe, with
Right.
round tables and everyone has to be seated.
Socially
Um,
distanced.
Socially distanced. Yeah, I mean, once they're in the venue, they think they can do whatever they want, or maybe they have to be seated. I think they have to be seated. Yeah. So, I mean, I was hoping that maybe these borders would have opened up and we could come and play in New Zealand, but we do have some penciled in dates in September still. So, fingers crossed.
I don't know how to break this to you, but I don't see us letting anybody in, even you guys, I'm afraid.
No, let me in.
Now we'd love to have you. We'd love to see you come and play, but when I notice you've also got dates booked for Western Europe in, I think it's November, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you think of that? Of the chance of that happening?
Well, I mean, officially they've opened the borders to Aussies and Kiwis, so it's
Yeah.
your call now. Do you think you'd make it?
I don't know. We're talking about it. I feel like we might delay it and put it on next year. Yeah.
Probably wise.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So how? I mean, I'm going to sound like a like your dad here, an old school teacher. But have you been using your time productively during these troubled times?
Yeah, I think we have. Um, I guess with this, there's lots to do with an album coming out,
Yeah.
from arranging shows or just getting everything prepared. We only just got our vinyls delivered yesterday, and
Oh
they're
wow.
looking smick. So happy about that. But we spent. We're trying to get ahead with the recording as well. So we went down south on the south coast of New South Wales and tried to start working on the next album, and we're getting there. So yeah, I'd like to, after this album's out, I'd like to just keep moving and get something out a bit sooner than the gap between 2017 and 2020. I'd like to have something fresh out by the end of the year, perhaps.
So you think you just keep the singles coming, or you're going to wait for a full album release?
I think keep the singles coming. Like if we want to get something out by the end of the year, we'll probably just go in and record a few songs that we're really confident about, and then move into an album maybe mid next year or something.
No, that makes sense. So where do you think the music's going to head next? Like we say, we've the new album is definitely more of a, let's say, an evolution than a revolution in your sound. It's still very much recognizable as one of your records. but I did notice that unlike most bands, you know, your lineup, it says, you know, that you play between you trumpet and clarinet. These aren't instruments we expect to see these days on sort of pop rock albums. So what's the next direction going to be? What can we expect to hear from you guys next?
Yeah, potentially more clarinet and saxophone and trumpet. I mean, I really enjoyed putting a bit more of that on this album, because we used to play that a lot live in the early days, and then sort of moved away. A lot of people tell you that you shouldn't really be putting clarinet in a or maybe people just don't understand the clarinet. But that's what I think is really cool about it. You play a clarinet and it's almost more unrecognizable than a synthesizer or something. People are used to hearing a synth more than they are an instrument that's been around for centuries. So I think we'll have more of that. But I think we really enjoyed just getting really wacky on this album. And I think the balance between keeping it listenable and bite-sized and I guess commercial in a way, and molding that with how far you can push it. I think that's the thing that we love about the Beatles the most, is that they were the most commercial band during their time, but also how did they pushed the boundaries so hard. And I mean, that's what I'm always so intrigued by and amazed by. So I think the attempt to keep doing that and push boundaries whilst being listenable. I don't want to just make weird art music, but I think that's where the next album will go for sure.
Weird art music?
No, not weird art music.
That would make a great title for an album, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure. Weird Art Music by Lime Cordiale.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing it. I mean, I was talking to James Rain out of Australian Crawl a few days ago, and talking about the idea of making records for yourself. You know, reaching that stage in your career where you're not simply looking to have, you know, your radio friendly unit shifters, but making records that are records that you wanted to write. So what would your record sound like?
What would it sound like?
Yes, if you were writing purely for yourself, other than obviously weird art music.
I mean, I like to think that this one is a lot closer to that, for sure. You know, I think we would not worry about the time limit so much. A lot of the time, people say your songs need to be 3 minutes 30.
Right.
And it's hard to convince people to push it further than that. If it's 4 minutes, people call it a long song. So I'd like some more time. And you know, the other thing is, do you really have to get into a chorus 30 seconds into the song? Are people that impatient? I guess they probably are. But I like to think that this album is an album for us. I love every song on this album, and the longer we've been around, we used to do that. I think we used to write music trying to get it played on radio, and I don't think it did us any favors. If anything, it probably went the other way. As soon as we really stopped caring about radio and just decided to make music for us, that's when I think we started getting played on radio. So yeah, it was a weird one.
Well, basically what I'm hearing is that your next album is going to be a prog rock concept album. Is kind of reading between the lines here.
Is that what you're reading? Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting from you. Am I misreading this?
No, maybe it is. Maybe that's what I was working on before this phone call.
Ah, and we will never know.
Yeah. You might know when it's released. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm obviously it's far too soon to be talking about timeframes for next albums, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to get the whole album out by mid next year or something, you know.
Right.
And I think if we're not touring so much, then an album will probably come sooner.
Ah, fair enough then. Well, you know, I guess the lockdown's a double-edged sword then in that case. I was listening this afternoon to your cover version of "I Touch Myself," which was interesting. So it got me wondering, what would a Lime Cordiale cover versions album look like? Who would we see on that?
Well, with that one, we really liked the fact that song was Australian.
Yeah.
We had this sort of list of songs that we were wanting to do, and
it actually has something of a Men at Work Down Under vibe to it, to be fair.
I mean, I would love to put a Colin Hay or Men at Work song on, do a cover of one of Colin Hay's songs for sure.
Yeah.
And we met Colin Hay in LA and just at a party, and after 5 minutes of talking to him, he invited us to his house and showed us around his studio. So I'd have to sort of get him featured on something for sure. That's one
Oh,
of
that would be very cool.
my aims. He's got such an amazing voice. But yeah, I really like the fact that Divinal song was Australian.
Yeah.
I love that it was featured on Austin Powers
Mm-hmm.
because you know, such a great, one of my favorite comedies, and it just sort of ticked a lot of boxes. It's cheeky and probably shouldn't be sung by a guy.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
That's a bit weird, but yeah, I'm not really sure. Don't really know what it would be. I think songs that need more appreciation or need to be revitalized again.
So would we be sort of looking through the obscure Australian songs songbook?
Potentially, yeah.
Very cool. Well, I did notice when I was looking through press releases, and I found myself on the Guardian, the British newspaper, did an article a while back on how did they title it? Best Australian music for October of last year, and it describes Lime Cordiale as for fans of the Police, Arctic Monkeys, and Razorlight. Now
I don't know Razorlight. Should I know Razorlight?
I'm not overly familiar, to be fair, but then I'm possibly not of the generation that would be familiar, but certainly the Police and the Arctic Monkeys.
I mean, Arctic Monkeys is one that we get quite often, and it's interesting because they weren't a band that influenced us directly, but it's something that we always get after shows or people that have discovered our music. Oh, you sound like Arctic Monkeys, and I love Arctic Monkeys. I love that AM album, and their new one is super interesting. So I don't mind that at all. I mean, Police is an interesting one. I feel like we do have we whether we like it or not, I think we share some sort of melodies that the Police Sting sort of would use. I think that comes from an early reggae influence.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd say that there feels like there's a lot more sunshine in your songs than there is in, say, the Arctic Monkeys. I guess
their
music's
Australia
definitely
versus England, really.
Sorry?
I guess that's Australia versus England.
Oh, very definitely. Yeah. Sheffield's a much gloomier and darker place than Sydney is.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's been very good of you giving us some of your time today. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And just to recap, 14 Steps to a Better You out on the 10th of July.
That's right.
Look forward to hearing it then. Thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us, Oliver.